What are you wearing?
A Canadian tuxedo. And I'm a hockey player. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Who are you, Blues fan? We're bleeding blue with you.
Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues.
BlueNote Fan Report. Aloha, how are you all doing? I am Guy Benson, and I am your host on a show that I say is by fans, for fans, and about you, the fan. Oh, my goodness. So, the last show I did, you guys were not very happy with me. Yes, I heard it, and I heard it on a few different levels. One of the things that I heard was, we never know when the show is. How can you blame us if you just do an impromptu show? We never know when the show is. And you know what? I partially get that, but I'm not blaming anybody, right? That's the thing that I think got missed, is I wasn't blaming anybody. I'm just stating facts. The show gets shared in 7, 8, 9 groups. Today, I invited 400 people. 400. 400. And we'll see what happens, right? The issue is I've come to realize that I feel like it's me. I didn't say it, Jason. I don't throw names out, so don't assume something, man. That really kind of aggravates me some. Right? I made a general statement. That's all it was, a general statement. Big old thank you to Kyle Mead and Jason Nixon. Kyle, I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, buddy? How you doing, man? Alaska Kyle. How you doing, bud? I'm just saying what things are. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Welcome to the show, man. Welcome. Today, we're going to talk about an article that was in The Athletic. It got put up today. And by the way, I'd be remiss. Let's go back. Today is September 11th. I went to a doctor's appointment they had on one of the morning shows, and one of the hosts was on there talking about, being at the show when it was happening and, really getting emotional on it. For me, it was, I want to say that it was a Monday night in Japan. I was in Japan might have been Wednesday night, because I think it happened on a Tuesday. So it might have been like Tuesday night. Like in Japan, you're a day ahead, right? You're a day ahead. So at 10 o'clock at night is when the morning shows are on. And one of the morning shows were on. Hey, Virginia, how are you? And I was on my computer and living on base but off base in a base housing area that was about 20 minutes from base. And when the planes first hit, and Made my daughters, we actually all slept downstairs. I remember that. At least I think we started to, but they couldn't. I ended up going to the ship and being on the ship for like because I re-enlisted on like the 13th or the 14th. And I hadn't been off the ship. I didn't have my uniforms with me because I didn't expect to be stuck on the ship. So I didn't have my uniforms with me. So I went out and bought a brand new set of whites, right? Instead of trying to, because I knew it was impossible, having duty and all this stuff. So couldn't get off the ship. I had someone stand by so I could go to the store. And then my senior chief bitched at me about that. I'll never forget that. You know, I could have changed the uniform to dungarees or coveralls, but I didn't. I went and got myself a brand new uniform, right? Paid the extra money to get it done that day so I could be ready for this ceremony. And you know, I just kind of, it was just one of the things that I had somebody who, there was nothing I could do right, you know? That was just kind of what it was. No matter what I did, it was wrong. I've talked to some people about it. But, you know, remembrance to those who lost their lives. I was in a group that was part of the 12 soldiers, right? We were a support, our ship was a support ship for that. They were using a carrier as their main platform, as their resupply platform, and we were providing cover for the carrier. Right, we got underway with 1 day notice. On a Sunday, we got told we're getting underway the next day. Right. Then we came back. Christmas Eve. We got back Christmas Eve. Right. We had to stop. We had to stay. One of my funny memories. The carrier, their refueling rig wasn't working right. For some reason, it would not. We tried to refuel and we couldn't get a refuel. Well, we needed fuel. The carrier didn't. So the carrier was able to continue on, and we had to stop in Okinawa to get fuel. Well, as the oil king, it's my job to do, you know, I got to make sure the paperwork's right. That's part of it. All right. So we pulled in, and now what I did is I had everything ready to go when we pulled in. So I had my guys go up, take the station apart. I had them take the station apart. I had all the guys laid out where they were supposed to be. Really put a lot of work into getting guys where they needed to be for this. And when we finished, you know, I got my guys putting everything up, and I'm trying to get the paperwork. Well, the civilians that were refueling us were taking their sweet time with the paperwork, and I was getting, So we're at sea and anchor. That's just where you were ready to go. The brow is down. I'm standing on the pier. The brow is hooked up to the crane. They're yelling at me to get on the damn ship, and I'm trying. I am trying to get this paperwork done. And finally, the guy gets it, and I sign it, hand him his copy, and I run on board, and I'm getting yelled. Oh man, you need to go to CCS and then to the bridge, and I'm like, God, what do you want me to do? What was I supposed to do? Walk away without the paperwork, and then us be short 150,000 gallons of fuel on the paperwork side of it? I mean, can't win for losing. And then when I get up to the bridge, the CO, tells me to stand outside for a moment. Say, yes, sir. He comes up and he goes, looks at me and kind of goes, good job making sure you got that paperwork. Just wish it would have been a little bit quicker. And he was an asshole of a CO. I was kind of surprised. I said, sir, was going as quick as I could. I was telling them, I need this stuff now. And he goes, I know, but just wanted to tell you that. So, I mean, it was kind of just one of those memories I have. Where are we at here? Virginia says, that day was etched in my soul. I worked for TWA at the airport at the time. I can believe that. My parents were actually, I didn't know this. My parents were in Boston, right? They were supposed to get on a flight going to St. Louis from Boston. And I mean, it's just plain lucky that they weren't on one of the planes that, flew into one of the towers or whatever, right? Because two of the planes came out of Boston. Two were out of New York and two were out of Boston, if I remember correctly. I was taking a course today to have a guard card to become security at work, and half the course was weapons of mass destruction and terrorism, which is ironic that it was today. Yeah, I can see that. We came out of the field the Friday prior, so we were doing final weapons cleaning. A kid came back from the chow hall and said a plane hit the World Trade Center. Yeah, I mean, it changed everything. The Mobile Bay, the ship that just retired, they got put out in the bay. We in Yokosuka were put on lockdown, man. We had people walking around guarding the base. It was really an interesting time. Very, very interesting time. Well, with that said, let's talk about the article. David Wilkes, thank you for putting that thing. The article in The Athletic, gauging the NHL Central Division. Connor Bedard is the future, but who are the contenders now? Boy, everyone is just sucking on Connor Bedard. Bedard. I don't get it, man. I don't think McDavid got this much. Maybe he did. I don't remember it, but it's just wow, man. Way, way too much for me. So the real interesting thing is, and the only thing I can think of, so I'm going through, and they have all the teams where they link them, right? Except St. Louis. St. Louis is the only team that's not linked. And I think that the reason it didn't get linked is because of the way they use St. Louis in here. I think that they do an automatic link, and that's might be why it didn't happen. So they had the 8 beat writers from each team in the Central go through and vote, what place the teams were going to be in. So here we go. First place, Dallas Stars got 61 votes. They got 6 first place votes. The Avalanche got 58 votes in second. The Wild got 48 votes. The Avalanche had 2 first place votes. I'm sorry. So there were your first place votes. The Wild were in third at 48 points. The Blues were listed at 4th at 34 points, and right behind them, are the Predators with 33 points and Winnipeg with 29 points. Arizona was in 7th with 16 points, and the Blackhawks were last with 9. One person had the Blackhawks. Everyone had them last except somebody had them coming in next to last. Let me see something here. Let's see if they list the votes. They do not list the votes. I wish they would have listed the votes. Right? So, what did Jeremy Rutherford have to say about the Blues? Right? New, Kevin Hayes, Oscar Sundquist. I don't know if you... Kenzie Cochran, Joel Hofer. He's got Zachary Bolduc and Zachary Dean making the team. Who's gone? Logan Brown, Thomas Grice, Josh Levo, and Tyler Pitlick. I still think letting Brown go was a mistake, but that's just my... And then he says, reason for optimism. After all that transpired in the past 12 months, the Blues don't know how competitive they'll be this season, but they should have a better feel for their situation at least. They went into the 22-23 season believing their championship window was still open, and now they realize they're in a retool. There was a resentment over Kyrou and Thomas getting $65 million contracts last summer, and most of that animosity should have dissipated. Vladimir's trade request was still unresolved, and he's now he's gone. I still don't think that was what it. I think he made way much more out of that than what it was. Ryan O'Reilly's future remained uncertain, and that was cleared up. There may still be another difficult season for the Blues, but they've already waded through a lot of turmoil, and being beyond that part of the process should be beneficial. Okay, fair enough. Reason for concern. The only move to attempt to improve a disappointing defense and putrid penalty kill was made behind the bench. That's not true. The Blues hired Mike Weber to replace Mike Van Ryn as assistant coach on Craig Berube's staff, and Weber will specialize in both of those areas. The team had an unexpected goal share of 44.68% in 22-23, according to Natural Stat Tricks. And while that should be an indictment on the forwards and goaltending, none of the top four defensemen were higher than Torrey Krug's 45.4%. They're all back. The penalty kill ranked 30th in the NHL at 72.4% last season, and there were no upgrades on that unit this summer outside of Sundqvist. So now he acknowledges Sundqvist. So unless Weber can work some magic, be concerned. How about the offense? You went from scoring 330 goals to 240 goals, or something like that. Huge. And then his bold prediction was just a straight joke. This season will not go the Blues way, and goalie Jordan Binnington, who tried to tangle with Marc-Andre Fleury last season but had the bout broken up by officials, will lead the team in fighting majors. Then he goes, too bold or not bold enough. Okay, the defense will get back on track. Right? It's you want the defense on track, fix the offense. This team had the offense was such a big problem. Such a big problem. Right? Hey, Lance, man, how you doing, bud?
Not too bad, Guy. How are you?
Not bad. Did you see the article in The Athletic today?
No, I had some appointments today. I wasn't able to see it.
Okay, so they ranked the Central Division, right? They have they had the 8 beat writers vote, and this is what they came up with. Dallas Stars first with 61 points, 6 first place votes. Avalanche second at 58 points with 2 first place votes. So there's your first place votes. The Wild were third at 48. Then you have St. Louis with 34, Nashville with 33, and Winnipeg with 29, right there in 4 through 6. You had Arizona at 7th with 16 points, and then you had the Blackhawks with 9. So basically, one person had the Blackhawk. Everyone put Blackhawks in last except one person, and then flipped that with their Coyotes. Everyone had them next to last except one person, I think. I think that would work 7 times. Actually, no, that doesn't work. Somebody had them higher. Somebody bumped them up 1.
I think Nashville is going to be a better team than a lot of people think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be very competitive. And I think the Blues are going to be one of those teams that they're going to be competitive most nights. But I think they're going to just miss the playoffs unless something really great happens. Like if Robert Thomas has a career year, if Kyrou has a career year, and Binnington, plays like he did last year. I know people are going to say he wasn't good last year, but I think if Binnington plays like he did last year, and that offense can be better, the Blues can make a decent run to get into the playoffs. And we all know you get into the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen. But I liked your picks the other night. I think you put them out on the Central. I believe that was you that did that. Was that you that did that on
On the
Twitter?
show?
Yeah.
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 Me
And
and Wendy were talking, right?
yeah. I'm pretty much dead on with you on that.
Well, I have the Blues in 7th.
I've got
6th.
Yeah, I've got the Blues in 6th.
Right. I have Arizona, Chicago. I think Arizona's just. I think that they're still a dumpster fire that hasn't, with the moves that they made and the things that they got going on. Though they did play well in that arena last year, and I remember saying I thought they would. I think that they're still a dumpster fire. Chicago, to me, Chicago's biggest issue is goaltending, right? More than anything else, and they didn't do anything to correct that. So that, and I don't think they have anybody to protect Bedard. I'm absolutely. Well, we asked Wendy this question. I had Shaggy on with me, and me and Shaggy had the same answer. Who's the first one to light up Connor Bedard? Who on the Penguins is going to be the first one to introduce Connor Bedard to the NHL?
I don't know.
Me and Shaggy had the same guy. We both thought it should be Crosby, right? I think Crosby should just right into him.
I think Crosby at this point in his career is trying to stay away from going after those type of hits because he's gotten hurt throughout his career because of some hits. I don't know who's going to ring him first, and whoever does, the Blackhawks are going to complain about it, and the fans will complain
that's
about
why
it.
It needs to be somebody like Crosby.
It needs to be somebody that carries weight. I don't know if it's going to be a big defenseman. I don't know if it's going to be a big forward or a star player, but I'm going to tell you right now, unless that boy gains a little bit of weight, I just don't see. I see him being good, but there's Blackhawks fans and even some people on Sportsnet saying he's going to get 80 points in his first year. There's no way in Hades that young man is going to get 80 points in his first year.
Mike, I could not disagree with you more. Mike, I've been asking. I want to get somebody on the show that believes. Now, one thing me and Wendy did is we listed the 5 areas of a hockey team, right? 5 major areas: offense, defense, goaltending, power play, penalty kill, right? And of those, we asked, what was your most concern to your least concern? Right? Most concerned to least concerned. My most concern is the offense. Second is the power play. Third is the penalty kill. Fourth is the defense. And fifth is goaltending. Goaltending being my least. I think that we have good defenders. I think we have very good defenders. That's the thing that I think people don't realize. Krug is a good defender. Parayko is a good defender. Leddy is a good defender. Falk is a good defender. Scandella is a good defender. Prunovich could be a good defender. We don't know. Kessel is a good defender. Who's the other kid they brought up? Tucker. Right? Tucker and Kessel are young, so is Prunovich, but they're still decent defenders. The issue is this. More than any other sport, your offense is connected to your defense in the NHL. More than any other sport, with basketball being a close second. When you have sorry, let me clear my thoughts for a second. In the NHL, the best defense is to not let the other team touch the puck. Plain and simple. Best defense. You do not want the other team to touch the puck. That's it. You keep the puck away from them, they can't score. Now, here's something that's important. Right? Parayko's never going to drop the gloves. It's not who he is. Right? And you know what? You go back and you look at some of the best fighters in the NHL, the majority of them weren't defensemen. They were forwards. They were fourth line and third line forwards. Right? Tony Twist was a forward. Kelly Chase was a forward. Right? So those guys, those guys on the fourth line that we want to be skilled guys aren't supposed to be skilled guys.
People have to understand that the more time you spend in your offensive zone, the more you're going to score and the more you're going to keep them off the board from, having time in their offensive zone, which takes pressure off your defense. You've got to keep that puck in the offensive zone as much as you can.
And here's the other part of this that gets missed. And I brought this up a couple of times, and I get some strange looks. When you put your number one line out, majority of the time, who is your number one line going up against?
Your number one line normally goes up against the checking line or a good defensive playing line.
No. Their number one line goes up against their number one line. Number one line against number one line. It's almost, you look at it, it's almost always that way. Right? Top line against top line. If you have the puck and you're cycling it while their top line is on the ice and you get to do changes, especially in the first period, if you can get on 2 or 3 good 2-minute cycles, 1.5 to 2 minute cycles, that translates into major advantage in the third period. Major advantage in the third period. Because you've taken them away from the game. You've taken them out of the game for a good 6 to 7 minutes because they've been on the ice so long. Now the other lines have to make up for it. Come the third period, the guys that need to be fresh aren't fresh because of what you've done.
Yep.
Right? Am I right or wrong?
No, if you need to try to wear a team down, and I know a lot of people think, well, wearing a team down is having big defensemen and hitting them. No, that's not always true. Wearing a team down is cycling the puck, moving around in the offensive zone, making their guys work and chase after you. If a team is chasing after you constantly throughout the game because you're in control of the puck, they're going to be dead tired by the third period. By the middle of the third period, they'll be gassed.
We have guys on this team that see, I disagree here. We'll talk about that, Mongongo. That was he did that he did that, and I want to cover this. You have Torpachenko, you have Walker, you have Sundqvist now. Those are 3 right off the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
That will go out there and throw fists.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where are we at here? This one. What happened when Chief said he did that for the start of the game? That was it. He did it that first line to get them roughed in, get them, hit the other guy, make them know they were playing hockey. But that went backwards more times than it went forward.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You got to remember, 2 of the games we got blown out in. Games 3 and game 6, we got blown out. Everyone forgets that. We got blown out. I'm not sold on Sonny, but Sonny can throw a fist. He's been known to get that. Right?
The only thing I don't like about Sundqvist is he plays that, I call it the Sabotka type of style, to where he's just running all over the place trying to hit somebody and he gets hurt that way. He gets hurt way too easily. And you can't count on Oscar Sundqvist to play 82 games in a season. You just can't.
This is a good point. This is a good point here. I feel like we're always trying to get our fourth line out against the top line when we're home. And that's not what you want. Right? I agree with Craig. They can stand up for people, but unless the play gets gets his head ripped off. We don't stand up for anyone. They've always been soft like that. I'm not completely there. I'm not completely there.
And Jason, I liked Ryan Reeves when he was younger. We don't need two Ryan Reeves, because I'm going to tell you right now, one of the worst decisions Toronto's made in the last 10 years is signing Ryan Reeves to a 3-year contract at 36 years old for 3-point-something million. And you know what? If they make the playoffs, he'll never see a minute in the playoffs. He won't be out there in the playoffs.
He won't see much time. I gotcha. Nathan, how you doing, bud? I hope St. Louis gets back to controlling the second period. That was a big change from the season ago to last season. I think that was a symptom of the cause. And the cause was an offense that, instead of, and it's not dumping the puck in, but it's setting up a cycle. They were trying to become a rush team. Guy goes in, passes the puck to an open guy coming in, But that gives you one and done. You have to cycle the puck, and you have to get net front presence. That's the other area that I so believe. Stephanie's glad Sonny D is back. Steph, I'm kind of not with you on that. Look, I don't mind Sonny, but I think Sonny is the rope with which Berube can hang himself. That's exactly how I feel Sonny is. And it's no, he's not back. They just wish we had more like him. I will say this. I have never understood the appreciation for Reeves. Never understood it.
No, I haven't either.
Right? All the players mentioned, Falk, Shin, and the others will fight, but not fighters, and all the other teams welcome any one of those to go. Not one of them is geared. Fair enough. I'll be okay with that.
Do you know what my concern is, Guy? And you and I have talked about this before. What do we have now on this team right now? We have 5 to 6 fourth-line players, and that upsets me, because Jake Neighbors needs to be on the ice. I don't care if you brought up Sonny. I don't care what you do. The guy, if he's healthy, he needs to prove himself. And by having all these guys competing for, a fourth line, I've even heard some people say that he may not even make the fourth line, and that's just
Neighbors should be on the third line. Period.
I think he should start on the fourth, maybe for a little bit, and then play on the third and switch between the two lines. But you've got to give this young man some NHL minutes if he's healthy. You have to.
Mike, if they go to this, they will lose. They will not be in 6, they'll be in 7. Yep. You need to understand, we need to understand that the NHL has changed. And it's not going out and just hitting everybody and hitting everybody in sight. It's hitting people when it's appropriate. When you don't put yourself out of position. You don't just run around like a chicken with your head cut off and just hit everything you see, because that puts you out of position. It causes breakaways. It causes all kind of scoring opportunities. You hit when there's an opportunity. You don't just hit to hit. Jason said, Jason goes, for some reason, Boston appreciates the rat guy Benson. No one wants to play them. That's not completely true.
And Mike, how many teams have a so-called tough guy like Reeves on their roster?
Not many.
Reeves is probably the only true enforcer, tough guy that's really, really left. There might be a couple.
Tom Wilson.
Yeah, but he scores 20, 30 goals a year. I don't consider him a tough guy. I consider him a guy that hits hard and hits everything in sight and scores goals.
Here's the thing, Mike. The forecheck is not as important as everyone thinks it is, at least in my eyes, especially the way this team played last year, right? They didn't even try and forecheck. Their offense, unless the offense changes, it's not going there. Yeah, I'm not a Reeves guy. I never have been. Ashley says Wilson can put up points. That's true. Look how much more fighting there was in the playoffs. Yeah, I agree, but
Thank you, Robert.
you got to get to the playoffs first.
Yeah.
This what works in the regular season doesn't necessarily work in playoffs.
And I want to ask.
We've seen that.
Yeah, I want to ask.
We've seen that. Look at Boston.
Yeah, I want to ask everybody this one question, Guy. You know, I've asked it before.
Yeah.
How many Stanley Cups has Ryan Reeves helped teams win?
Yeah.
0.
Right.
0.
I think he's been to the finals once.
No, I don't think so.
With Vegas, he got traded to Vegas that year.
Yeah, but he didn't play. He didn't play at all in the finals.
Are you sure?
I don't think they played him at all. If they did, it was a couple minutes.
I'd have to go back. I'm pretty sure that he has. He was. Well, I know he was on the team. I'm pretty sure that he got traded to Vegas.
I don't think he was on the team at that time because when they made it to the when they made it to the semifinals or the finals that time, they've only made it to the semifinals. They haven't made it to the finals until they won the cup.
Yeah, they had. They lost to their very first year. They lost to the Capitals.
He wasn't with them then. Ryan Reeves was not with them then.
I think he was.
He was. I think he was still with Pittsburgh.
I think they traded him that season. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, 17-18. He played 13 games with Vegas. He was with them, and he.
How many playoff games?
I'm trying to bring it up now. He played in 21 playoff games, so he played in most of them.
Yeah, but he wasn't playing very many minutes, and he wasn't out there fighting. You can't have a guy out there fighting and taking bad penalties.
Hold on a sec. Seeing if TOI is on here. If they have TOI, but they don't. His average TOI, I'm not. Oh, here it is. That's a. Oh, that's a total. I don't see it here, but I'm pretty sure it's on there. They have it more of a total. His total time on ice of the let's see here. Let me get back. He played 21 games. He had 208 minutes on ice. So that's about 10 minutes. 10 minutes a game.
That's about 9 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That's not much.
All right.
That's really not much.
Yeah. But he did go to the finals. And where are we at here on the comments? I think we did that.
I agree with Stephanie.
Either way, tough guys or dinosaurs evolve or become extinct. Yeah, I think I'm with that. Perron was with them that year. That is true. I think Reeves is a good morale to get the fans and team riled up, to do better when he fights, but as a scorer, he hasn't done much. That's absolutely. Blues need to stay out of the penalty box big time this year. I agree with that. Vegas used Reeves as more than a tough guy, put him in front of the net, and it worked, was successful. Didn't see what his points were in that. Hold on.
Robert's correct. The longer playoffs go on, the less tough guys get minutes.
Yeah. I'm trying to find it here. Give me a second. I'm trying to find the playoff stats. Playoff scoring. Reeves played in 10 games. Oh, that said 21, but 10 games, he had 2 goals. He had 2 points. That's it. He averaged 8.13 minutes per game. Right? They don't have it game by. I'd have to go look game by game to find that. But yeah, so that's where Reeves was. Oh, the 21 that I saw was regular season, and he averaged 955 in the regular season. So, and he had 2 assists. So in playoffs, he ended up playing 31 games, averaged just over 8 minutes, and had 4 points. Right.
The one, you mean 21 games, not 31, because there's not 31 games.
No, he played a total of 31 games.
For Vegas?
Yeah, for that season, regular season and playoffs. He played in 31 games, 21 in the regular season, 10 in the postseason. He averaged just over 8 minutes, and he had 4 points. Right? Lance, I don't think you and I have ever agreed this much. I'm checking if it's a full moon. I sent like 400 invites out today. Going to forwards, we lost toughness when we lost Maroon. He doesn't have the best stats. He gets it done when you need it. Mike, I have to agree with part of that statement, right? We did lose. Maroon does bring toughness, but Maroon also brings a little bit of skill, right? And Maroon brings cockiness. Now, it seems to me that we've got some cocky guys, but our coaching staff reins them in, right? I think Thomas can be cocky. I think Kairu's been cocky. And
Kairu's definitely cocky.
Huh?
Kairu's definitely cocky.
And every time he is, though, he gets reined in.
Yep.
Right? And Bennington's definitely cocky and that. Like I said, the 5 areas that where I'm at, my least concern is goaltending.
Yeah, mine is too.
Right? I think goaltending is and not only that, let's say, for example, that Bennington does have a rough start. Okay? Down on the farm, you've got 3 guys that are probably really close to being NHL ready right now. Right? You have Hoffer, you have Zerzinko, and Ellis. And Ellis and Zerzinko are very, very close.
Yep. And please don't bring up Subban, because Subban does not belong in the NHL anymore.
Well, we don't have. Well, yeah, he's on the minor league roster. I don't see Subban ever coming up for the Blues.
It's going to take some injuries.
For me, if there's 2 guys out there right now that if I thought Bennington, but knock on wood, if Bennington gets hurt, I'm knocking hard, or just fails, there's 2 guys right now that haven't signed contracts yet that I'd be interested in, and they're both former St. Louis goalies. No, Subban went to Springfield. Right? Do you know who I'm talking about? Who?
Oh God, you just made me lose his name. Played for the Blues and was 1A and 1B with Jake Allen.
Yeah.
God, I can't even think of his name now.
Elliot.
Yeah.
Ryan Elliott. Moose.
Yeah.
And then the other one that's out there is connected to the Moose. We traded this guy for the worst goalie the Blues ever had.
I'm talking about we traded him for Johnson.
Nope. So we had somebody worse than Johnson.
That's pretty bad. How far back?
Not that far. Recent history. Nope. Elliott he just hasn't signed. He is not retired. I know he's on my fantasy team. I'm praying he doesn't retire. Yep. We traded him for Miller. Hollick. You're a Hawk.
Oh yeah, I would sign him to be in. I would have rather signed him to be in the organization than Subban.
Yeah, I would. But I can see Hollick not wanting to go play in the AHL. Right.
Yeah,
I could definitely see him not wanting to play in the AHL. To me, that doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah. But having him, so what they're both 38. I think Hollick and.
Yep. I think one of them's 38, and I think one of them is close to 39.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me.
Actually, one of them may be 40.
No, they're both 38, 39. I know. I looked this up because I talked to Wendy about this, and I brought up.
Chris Halak was awesome. If you go back and look at his goals against and saves percentage when he was here, he was awesome. That was just a stupid trade.
Yeah, it really was.
And you know what? Ryan Miller, I don't know if a lot of people know this. Ryan Miller told Doug Armstrong, "Yes, I'll come to you guys, but I'm not re-signing with you guys."
Yeah, he didn't want to be here. There are 11 free agent goalies right now. Hollick and Elliott are both 38.
Yep.
Right? They're both 38. So what I'm saying is, you got to listen to what I'm saying. If Bennington struggles mightily, or you have no idea who Miller is, Ryan Miller, the goalie should not be named. We traded, God, what year was that? I want to say 15-16 or 16-17.
No, it was before that.
No, it was 15-16 or 16-17. I'm pretty certain. I'm almost dead on certain.
I think it was 2 or 3 years before that.
Hold on. I
think it was 12, 13. I think it was 11, 12, or 12 and 13.
How do you spell Halleck?
Halak.
Here we go. We traded him. They got us trading him to Washington, but I thought we traded him to.
You traded him to Buffalo.
Yeah, it was a 13-14. I thought we traded him to Buffalo, yeah.
Like I said, I knew it was 11, 12 or 13, 14.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 13-14. Looks like it was 13-14. They've got Washington here, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I thought we traded him to Buffalo. Or did they do a 3-team swap?
No, he went to Buffalo. He played in Buffalo. I remember watching a game.
Hold on a second.
And yeah, Chris, I do know that McKinnon has the most wins as a USA-born goalie in the AHL.
Who? Miller?
McKinnon?
I thought Miller did.
No.
I'm pretty sure Miller does.
I'm almost in the AHL.
Oh, in the AHL. Okay.
Yeah.
In the NHL, it's Miller.
Yeah. Yeah, McKenna was one of those guys that was really good in the AHL. I mean, really, really good. Yeah. He just, for some reason, couldn't stick in the NHL.
Yeah, I can't find the transactions. Yeah, I can't find the transactions for him.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes it's so hard to find. Yeah, but right after that, I actually watched a game in Buffalo, and Halak was in goal for Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't
And
have it on
you want
here.
my honest opinion? I think Elliott on a team that preaches defense, like Berube wants everybody to do,
Mhm.
he would look a lot better in St. Louis backing up Bennington than 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 Subban would if somebody gets hurt. But I have faith in Hoffer. Is could Hoffer struggle if he comes in for an injured Bennington? Sure, but in the long run, this guy's going to be a starting goalie in the NHL. Hoffer will be a starting goalie in the NHL.
Oh yeah, I agree with you.
And that's why, I keep telling people Bennington will not finish his contract out here in St. Louis. Don't see that
possible.
happen. Yeah.
Possible. That no trade, the no trade clauses where it kicks in towards the end of it, his 5th or 6th year, his 6th year maybe more than that, because that I'm almost certain that the teams that he's got on there that he can't be traded to are the only teams that could afford his contract.
Well, you've got to look at it this way, guy. By that time, right now, he's like between 7th and 10th and being paid, but the difference between 7th, I think it's 7th or 8th, the difference between 8th and the 20th goaltender in the league is like $1.2 million.
Yeah,
that's it.
Pretty
so,
cool.
So by the time he comes up on that fifth, on the last year or two, if he's playing decently, that contract will be a good contract that other teams would take on.
Yeah. Hey, let me say a big old thank you to Erickson Krieger, Tammy Pemberton, Nathan Moyers, Stephanie Broski, Ashley Jones, Craig Moz, E. Guido, David Wilkes, and Jason Nichols and Kyle Mead. Thank you so much for putting that love in the air tonight. We greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it here on the BlueNote Fan. 18 people watching tonight. Wow. Guess I need to send invites more often. Worst Armstrong trade. It's up there, but I got one. If you want to go bad trades for Armstrong, I have one that most people will say I'm absolutely freaking nuts for. Right? I'm just going to go out and say it. If you had to rank bad trades, one of the trades that I think is a bad trade, and it's up there for me, is the Ryan O'Reilly trade. I think we gave away too much. I really do. I think we gave away too much. 2 picks, Tage Thompson, Sobotka, and Bergeron was too much. Right? For me, it was too much. And I still think that Ryan O'Reilly was, come on, 5 players for 1. That's McKinnon. That's Nathan McKinnon. Wayne Gretzky wasn't traded 5 for 1. When Wayne Gretzky came to St. Louis, I think we gave up 3 pieces.
You gave up 3 pieces.
Right? We gave up 3 pieces. It helped get us a Stanley Cup. But Ryan O'Reilly was there. Hold on. I disagree with that. Because O'Reilly was there from October to January when this team sucked.
Well, we all know that he got pissed off because Kyrou and Thomas got those contract extensions before he got his.
That was not an even trade. that was not an even trade in any way, shape, or form. Was that an even trade? You cannot sit there. So you're telling me that Ryan O'Reilly is at the same level and value as Nathan McKinnon, has McDavid, has Drysdale, Kachuk. Didn't Kachuk get traded 5-for-1 or 4-for-1?
I think it was 3-for-1.
Right? No, actually, no. It was. I think 2 pieces left and 3 pieces came back.
You talking about the Thrashers when they traded him to the Thrashers at the trade deadline?
No, I'm not talking about Keith Kachuk. I'm talking about Matt Kachuk.
Oh,
just
okay.
Recently.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
It was 3 pieces. I think it was 3 pieces, and I think it was 3 total pieces, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, I think it was 5 and 3. I think 3 left and 5 came over. I think somebody else went with Kachuk. Hold on a sec. Now I gotta go look that up.
And Matt, I think Hoffer needs to get between 25 and 35 games, because I think if you can give Bennington 50 games or less, he's going to be much fresher to go into the playoffs. You don't want, I know a lot of people saying we need Bennington to play 60, 62 games. Guys, there's very few guys that can play 60, 62, 65 games, and they're just not really in the league anymore. There's not that many guys that can do it. There's no Grant Fuhr that can play 76 games in a season.
Yeah, Bennington's got to play. I mean, he played what, 65 last season?
I don't remember, but he played a lot. I'd like to see him at about 50 to 54 and let Hoffer come in and play the rest of them.
Right.
Yeah, but
I'm looking at things here.
Like,
here we go.
Ryan, that trade did help us get the cup, but you guys have got to understand something right here.
It was.
He's part of a team. He's part of a team, and that's why when everybody says, "Oh, Crosby's great because he's won 4 cups or he's won," no. When you count cup wins, they are team wins. Was Ryan O'Reilly a big piece of it? Yes, he was. But you cannot say that Ryan O'Reilly won us the cup.
All right. So here was the trade. Here was the Kachuk trade. It was Matthew Kachuk and a 2025 4th-round pick that's conditional.
Yep. Huberdeau and Weegar.
And well, it's a condition. And then it went it was 4 for 2. So Huberdeau, Weegar, a AHLer, Cole Schmidt, and then a 2025 first-round pick that's conditional, depending on where the pick is, right? So, in all actuality, I mean, you look at Matt. Are you telling me that RR is better than
Matthew
Kachuk? Yeah. I'm sorry. There was too many pieces there. There were too many pieces. There's pieces that you could have taken from that and gotten something else or done other things. Our week off is in January, or the first week of February, I think. Right? But we've got like 4 days off early in the season. Right? Right? We've got 4 or 5 days off. Early in October, it's like almost like last year's. Right? I know everyone thinks I'm nuts on this, but
and what a lot of people don't know, Guy, and I don't know if you know this, there was one other team that was, serious about getting Ryan O'Reilly, and they were offering 3 pieces. So I think Armstrong overpaid.
I do too.
I'm not saying I didn't want Ryan O'Reilly, but I think it should have been for probably 3 pieces.
Hey, Zachary, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I think the numbers got up to like 19. Really, really happy there for a second. Yeah, Yeah, good interaction. I meant ORR being traded after us, not getting him. I can get that, right? That wasn't a bad trade, though. It wasn't a great
No,
trade,
no.
right?
But I will tell you guys this, and I've said it on Guy's show about, I don't know, 100 times. The Islanders offered more for Tarasenko around 18 months before he was traded than they got for him.
I honestly feel like that wasn't. I don't know. I kind of feel like that. I don't know how to say it. I feel like that was just one of them. Let's just float this out there and see what we can get type thing. I don't think that Tarasenko really wanted to be traded, and I don't think. And when they came to him, he said, "No, I don't want to go to the Islanders." I don't know that for a fact, but that's the feeling I have.
Yeah.
Right. That's the feeling I have.
Yeah, because Barry Trotz wanted him.
Right. Zachary Grady, Laura Brennan, Ryan Green. Thank you for putting those hearts and loves in the air. We really, really appreciate them here on the BlueNote Fan Report. So, what I have done, I talked about, the last show I was on, I talked about how, I'm really getting to the point of frustration and feeling like I'm going to quit. And guys jumped on me because one of the things that I got told was, we never know when the show is. So this week, I have posted all 5 shows ahead of time. I sent out invites for yesterday or today's, and I sent out invites for yesterday's. I will send out invites, the same invites I sent out to today. I'll send out on Wednesday, for Wednesday tomorrow. I'll kind of, I don't want to send them all out too early, right? But
and you know what, Robert?
Zach, that is not true. Zach,
No.
that is not true.
Yeah. I want to say something about Robert's comment before that about the game's getting faster and Roar was getting slower. And Guy and I talked about this about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, that we noticed that Ryan O'Reilly had lost a step or two. He was not as quick as he was the first year or two he was here.
Zach, I know for a fact that's not true.
I do too.
I know for a fact that's not true. From the horse's mouth, I know that that's not true.
Yeah, but Rutherford said it was.
Yeah. Right. I know for a fact that that was not true. I'll tell you what. You know who he was salty with? Berube. Right?
Yeah, he I will tell you this, and Guy knows this first person. I know it second person. He did not like Craig Berube.
Yep. He had issues with how Berube handles young guys.
I was even told, he had that incident with Hitchcock.
Yeah.
I was even told he liked Hitchcock more than Berube, so that shows you how much he didn't like Berube.
Yeah. I know that just the way that played out. Look at when Tarasenko came back to St. Louis, how he was when he came back with the Rangers, right? There was no, if I've seen guys come back to teams after they've left with bad feelings, and there was none of that.
I've seen guys sit down on the bench when they pay a tribute video to him.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. He stood up.
Oh yeah, no, he skated around.
Yeah.
Right? I absolutely know that they do.
Yes.
I
yes,
know
they
that
do,
some
Craig.
do. I know for a
they
fact.
do, Craig.
Does Tank ever win a cup again? I say no. Well, I think his best chances this season. I think that his best chances this season. I think the Senators are a lot better than people give them credit for. Okay, let's Zach. Let's kind of. I want to talk about this really quick. This part is true, but it got made to be so much more than what it was. In fact, it got played that this was why he was upset and not something else.
Well, can I say something real quick? There is nowhere in a player's contract, and I've seen players' contracts where it says a player cannot go out and get a second opinion. There's nowhere in any NHL contract that says that. The NHLPA will not allow them to put that in there. If a player wants to get a second opinion, it is up to him to get it. The team won't pay for it, but he can go get a second opinion, and it's got nothing to do with his contract.
Oh, the team will pay for it. The team has to pay for it.
Not a second opinion.
Oh, yeah. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That I know. And in some instances, they're required to get a second opinion.
Well, the problem is a lot of times they get a second opinion from a doctor that's affiliated with that's giving the Blues other second opinions. It's not an outside doctor.
Yeah. No, they're supposed to be able to go to a third source, right, and get it, straight up. It doesn't matter who's paying for it, type thing. I always thought that was one of those. Let's say you're doing a study, right? Let's say, Lance, I hire you to do a study to find out why XYZ happens, right? If you come back to me and say, well, XYZ is great, when in all actuality it's not, that's on you, not me. Who pays shouldn't have any effect. I want to know the truth. I want to know why, if XYZ is great. If it's not, I want to know that why people won't buy it, why people won't go to it. I want to know that.
It's like when people like you and me, you have an injury, like with your wrist or what I'm going through.
Yeah.
You always get a second opinion. Always. Yeah. When it's something major,
I know you are, Bob,
that can affect your career and everything, you have to get a second opinion.
Right? Wow, man. 18 watching today. Wow. I sent the invites out on BlueNote Fan Report, and 11 people watching from that. Great. Well, let's be honest. We know Big B is yeah, and that is Zach, that's why I see, and I said this before. I said that there were 3 players that screwed the Blues over. And I think, and for me, the reason that all 3 players did it was Berube. Right? And if you've watched the show, you know who they are. If you haven't watched the show, who do you think they are? Now, for those of you who know the answer, I don't want you to say it. This is for the new people. For people that haven't been watching me all the time. Who are the 3 players, recent players, that you think, or that I think, the Blues have screwed over the Blues? I think you agree with me on 2 of these, Lance. Maybe all 3. I know 2 of them you do. Right? I'm pretty sure 2 of them you do. Am I right?
Probably.
Yeah. I'm gonna give a few minutes, see if anybody answers. I can't answer that question. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I think one of the issues is they're too close. It's like the issue with Hitchcock and Armstrong. Armstrong cried at the press conference. Yeah. You can't do that as a GM. You've got to be close you've got to be close in a business relationship with your coach. But when you start being friends, there's a gray area there.
Yeah. No, not J-Bo. Shocky. Yeah. Tarasenko, Falk, and Parayko. None of those guys. I don't know why you think any of those guys screwed the Blues over. Right? Not even close. Not even close. Right? Schwartz, there's one. Schwartz, absolutely positive. The NHL should have investigated that. The NHL should have investigated that, and Dunn should have been awarded back to the Blues. Dunn should have been awarded back to the Blues. They had an agreement in kind that year for expansion, the Seattle Kraken were allowed to talk to free agents 2 days before everybody else. Right? And if they came up to an agreement with one of them, then that player would be who they would pick from the draft. Well, they told Schwartz, hey, if we'll agree to this deal, but we'll agree to it, we'll just kind of let it wait. And then we'll let it, and then we'll do it afterwards so we get another player. And that's what they did. And he signed that contract. In fact, they put it out the day before free agency that he had agreed to the contract. Come on. That didn't stink to high heaven? If I'm the NHL, I investigate that. That stinks to high heaven to me.
Here's the thing, though, with Dunn, he wouldn't be a Blue right now. He didn't get along with Berube either.
Well, that's fine, but it's still then we should have had that piece to trade, not lost two pieces when we should have only lost one. Priscilla, Petro, that is the other one. That's number 2. Absolutely. Petro led the Blues to believe that he wanted to stay with them when he didn't. Right? I think that the Blues could have gone out. I don't remember if he had a full. I don't know if he had a full no trade or if he had a partial no trade, but I know that they could have traded him out. Right? Not Shin. Wasn't Shin. I don't know why anybody thinks Shin. Shin didn't. The guys that screwed this team over did it in the way they left. In the way they left. And the third one, some people agree with me with the third one, some don't. But for me, it's Perron.
Everyone you mentioned, I had as my 3.
Well, you know what? The thing with that, Petro, you can't connect the two like everybody connects them.
Yeah.
Here's free agency. Petro, are you going to sign? Are you going to sign? Free agency opens. Are you going to sign? If the guy was going to sign, he'd have signed. Going to Krug, Petro basically told the Blues he wasn't going to sign with them. That's the way I see it. I don't think Perron ever comes back. I think the way Perron left, he doesn't come back. And if I'm the Blues, I don't bring him back. Why Perron? Okay. Perron was asked a yes or no question and clarified it to make it as if his answer was no, when his answer was yes. He was asked, did the Blues offer you a contract? That is a yes or no question. Yes or no. Either they did or they didn't. And Perron clarified it and said, not formally.
Not formally.
That is a yes answer.
Yep.
I remember the press conference with Armstrong sitting next to Perron saying 4 years or 2 years for $4 million. That's the offer on the table.
And 3 or 4 days before free agency, Perron and his agent told Doug Armstrong, we're not negotiating anymore.
Yeah. And they never negotiated with that to begin with.
No. And here's this. Perron and his agent knew what the Blues were up against in the cap. The Blues, and I can't get this through fans' heads, the Blues should have paid him whatever he wanted, and it was only $750,000 more, for a year. And I keep telling people they didn't have it, but people just don't understand it.
The Letty signing was the right signing to me. Right? I don't think I know we brought him back twice. I don't think he comes back the third time. I don't think he comes back. I think that I think Berube, wore very thin on him. I think Berube wore very thin on a lot of guys. On a lot of guys. Well, we're about an hour and 20 into it, man. Thanks for coming on today, Lance.
You're welcome.
Right? How you feeling? You feeling good?
Yeah, not too bad.
Right? Had a great show, man. Thank you for everyone that showed up and for the new people. Thank you, Priscilla, for joining us. Thank you, Zachary, for joining us. Stephanie for joining us. Haven't seen her in a while. Tammy, haven't seen her in a while. Marilyn, thank you for joining us. Bob Morton, Chris Shockey, E. Guido was on here for a while. Jason Nichols, Craig Moss, and so many others. Thank you for Nathan Moyers. Thank you for joining us and letting you in. Jeff Mueller, how you doing, bud? I think I lost him when I said that the ORR trade was a bad
Don't forget
trade.
about, it looks like a lady named Priscilla Tobias joined us.
Yeah, I said her name.
Okay.
I said Priscilla.
I didn't hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I said it. You guys. Oh, well, happy anniversary there, Priscilla, Tammy.
Happy anniversary.
Right? Okay, E's still here.
Yep.
Jason's saying love you to all. Share the group. Have a great night. New young stud we got in the trade. Which trade? Are you talking about Hayes? Are you talking about Kevin Hayes? He's not that young.
He's 30 or 31.
No, he's not. Draft. None of the guys that we got in the draft you're going to see this year. In fact, everyone thought that the forward was going to be at the training camp. He's not. They loaned him back to Finland.
Dvorsky,
yeah. He's not even going to be in camp.
No, he won't be.
Right? He's not even going to be in the prospects tournament.
No. And I don't know if everybody's heard, but from what I'm being told, camp is going to start on the 18th or 19th.
Yeah, that's about right. I think the first game's like the 22nd.
Yeah, 21st or 22nd. Yeah.
Yeah. They're doing a real weird split squad. They play in the morning in St. Louis and then in the afternoon in Phoenix. So, right? Yeah, they've sent him. Yeah, the 23rd. 23rd. Yeah. Thank you, Tammy. Well, guys, have a great night. Thank you for joining me. See you tomorrow if you're going to join us tomorrow. Hopefully the invites work and we'll keep getting the numbers up. Guys, have a great night. Hey, boys, what do I always say?
To all you Blues fans, we're bleeding blue with you. Let's go, Blues! Let's